thank you so much for being here. It's a crazy time. We thought that folks might want to sit and chat and just sort of be together. I thought it might be sort of comforting to have the reliability of it, the ritual of it. So we are here. Thank you so much to everybody
Yes.
who reached out to us and expressed concern. I've posted in a couple of places just to update you on how we are doing in these wildfires. Um, I am fine where I am. The air is gross, and a couple days ago we woke up and there was ash all over all of our cars. The patio furniture is all covered in ash. um, Also, let us know how we look and how we sound. We have been tweaking our audio levels as always, so
Yeah.
if it's not perfect, I'd like to fix it quickly. Thank you. And then Alonzo, you took off briefly during
Yes.
the sunset fire.
Yeah. So, Wednesday I woke up and, the Palisades fire was happening. The Eaton fire was happening. We had the TV on all day, on mute. And, we, like everyone else in Southern California, we had downloaded the Watch Duty app on our phones. And we were in kind of a pink zone, but nothing too major happening. And, so during the day, we were doing a few things to kind of like be ready. I went and filled up the gas tank, and Dave made up a suitcase and started getting some things together that we might want to take with us if we were going to go. But it seemed like it was going to be all right. And we sat down, we had dinner, it was fine. And then while we were eating dinner, Runyon Canyon, which is not that far from us, started burning. And we started seeing like the zones, we're a couple of blocks south of Sunset, and they started designating the Sunset and above with zones. And when you get a zone on the Watch Duty app, it means be on the lookout, because at some point you could be told very quickly that it's time to evacuate. And that just seemed a little close for comfort. So we had an option to go down to a friend's house in Long Beach. We decided to exercise that option.
Good.
So we drove down there. We spent Wednesday night and then kind of kept an eye on things. And some friends of ours who live in the Mount Olympus area, which is just up Crescent Heights from us, up
Mhm.
Laurel Canyon, had evacuated, but we're back home, and they were showing pictures, and the sky was, not super choked with smoke. And so it seemed like, well, I guess we could go back. So we came back yesterday afternoon, and we still have the bags by the door in case we have to do this all over again. But for now, knock wood, it seems like we're okay.
Yeah, we packed up some things too because although we are like 20 miles away from the Palisades fire, like we're directly across the bay from it. So like
Right.
if Santa Monica Bay is a giant backward sea,
Mm-hmm.
Malibu and Santa Monica are at the top and Palos Verdes is at the bottom. So we can like see across the water. But it's very similar in terms of topography. Like it's hilly and it's dry and there are windy streets and there's a lot of open space. And so we
Right.
thought, okay, just because it's not here now doesn't mean that it won't be here and won't be as bad. So we packed up some things just to be safe. It's a trip when you're taking that moment to think about, okay, what matters?
Right.
Like what do I need now?
Yeah.
And things like your passports and your birth certificates and you know some pictures.
Yeah, photos. Like I had, I always take my. I have a signed copy of the Celluloid Closet that Vito Russo signed for me in 1990, and we've had our building has come close to burning down twice in the times that we've lived here, and that's always one of the things I grab. So I grabbed that, and yeah, it's sort of like your prescriptions and whatever
Yeah.
else. And it was, I will say, when we did evacuate, like our street suddenly became nuts, like just cars zooming by. And then the traffic on La Cienega was to for people getting onto the 10 was really choked. And
Yeah.
we wound up taking surface streets all the way down to Long Beach, which you can do. And once we got south of like the airport, it was pretty smooth sailing from that point.
The South Bay, it's a magical paradise. Nothing bad ever happens here. But the big story, of course, is that there are all these huge fires that are going on
Yes.
at the same time. And there are huge winds that started them.
Yeah.
And every year around this time, the Santa Ana winds come through. But this was extraordinary in that I know, like with the Eaton fire, for example, in
Hmm.
Altadena, Pasadena,
Yeah.
it was winds like coming down a mountain and then like hitting the flatlands. And like that started a lot of stuff. The neighborhood where I grew up in the valley in Woodland Hills, there was a fire that broke out and it spread like that. They were calling it the Kenneth Fire.
Hmm.
And so the neighborhood I grew up in was under an evacuation. Like my high school had already been set up as an evacuation center for people from Malibu and the Palisades, but now it was in the evacuation area itself. And so,
Mm.
like, that looked bad, but they got a hold on that pretty quickly because the winds had died down so they could do water drops. What
Yeah.
was so bad for that first day or so is that there were major
Oh, the
gusts.
winds were crazy.
Yes,
Yeah.
and there were sustained winds, and so they couldn't fly to drop the water and all the stuff on
Yeah.
these brushy hillside areas. So it was a lot of stuff that went wrong at once.
Yeah.
There was like not enough water in the reservoir. There was not enough water in the hydrants, or, it's just a lot of bad things happened all at once that we were not prepared as a city for this and should have been. And so there's a lot of answers we need.
I'm sure, yeah, but there's also been a lot of misinformation going around, like
That's
saying
true.
that Karen Bass had cut the budget for the fire department, which was not true, and other stuff. And I will say this: if you saw that footage of that one water drop on the Sunset Fire that just like took out most of it, that's why my apartment is still standing here today. Like that because that was the fire that we were the most worried about, and so they really got that one under control very quickly. And I was very relieved about that. And then, like that one broke out in Studio City. And I mean,
Right.
just like there's all these little things popping up because, and a lot of it is, look, this is what climate change looks like. This is what 1.5 degrees Celsius hotter looks like. And I think tragically in a lot of places, this is, some version of this is going to be playing out right now. The Southeast is blanketed in snow,
Right.
and that's not a usual thing for them. So, this is something we have to really be having serious conversations about. And I don't know how serious those conversations are going to get to be in the next 4 years or so.
Right. I had a bunch of girlfriends post photos of like snow in Dallas. And it's just this weird disconnect that they have that going on while we have this. Yes, I noticed that the current administration assured California that we would get 100% of the coverage that we needed financially to rebuild, and that seems like a savvy thing to do 10 days
Yes.
out.
Yes.
So that is happening. Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation, but then also like I don't know if you saw the video of Karen Bass, our mayor of Los Angeles, a veteran, astute politician coming off of the plane. She was out of town for a pre-planned
Right.
trip. She comes off the plane and she's being asked these very pointed questions about where she had been and how does she feel about not being in town. And she was mute. Like
Oh,
I don't know if you saw this.
I didn't
She's
know.
coming off a plane. She's coming off the sky bridge of this plane, and she's being asked over and over again, like, how do you feel about this? And she could not answer. She could not provide even the most banal, canned, like, my heart is with the people of my city. Like, she's been a politician for decades. And she, like, stood there and kind of, like, turned toward a corner and was, like, cowering in the corner like she was shell-shocked. So it's going to be, video that we see over and over and over again. It just looks really, really bad. I want to answer some questions here because you guys are all so sweet to chime in with questions and some thoughts. And thanks to Jorge and Brazil, and thanks to Fernando saying to stay safe. And I see that Jesse is chiming in from the Midwest, as you say, where it's
Thank you.
icy. Thank you to all of you for being with us today. Somebody asked about, do I think that the celebrities who lost our homes, which we'll get to, Clay asks, do you think that all the celebrities who lost our homes had insurance? Okay, so this is a whole other element of the story. We're going to have reverberations for many, many months and years to come. One of them is all these insurance companies like canceled coverage
in the last month or two. Yeah.
Very recently.
Yeah. For something like 90% of the homes in the Palisades or something, which is like, I think the conversation that we've been having about health insurance is now about to extend to home insurance, which is, what are they in business to do? And are they, are they helping or are they harming? And it seems like right now they are very actively harming. And, it's there've been some corners of the internet like, they didn't have insurance. Like, well, no, they did have insurance until the insurance company decided they didn't have insurance, and they did that in the last few weeks. So what does that say for the system of insurance and how that's supposed to be helping people? Because and it's not just celebrities that live there. Like, two of our colleagues in LA film critics had homes in the Palisades that are
Right.
destroyed.
Right. One is in Malibu. Yeah. Wade Major lost the home he grew up in Malibu and was raising his own family in Malibu. And
Yeah,
then Kenny Turan, longtime former LA Times critic, lost his home in the Palisades. And all these celebrities, which I will get to in a sec, lost their homes. The Palisades is a war zone. It is decimated. If you see
yeah,
the overhead shots of it, it's like you would never even know there had been a neighborhood there. It
yeah,
is deeply shocking. Or video of people driving down PCH and like it's on both sides through Malibu. All those houses on the water in Malibu are shells, which is a whole nother issue I was thinking about with the water. Like the air is toxic, but the ocean waves are coming up onto the debris of these houses that have burned. What does that mean
right.
for water cleanliness and sea life?
Well,
Anyway, there
and in Pasadena, the water is like toxic. Like, these warnings are going out that you can't drink it, you can't sterilize it, you can't bathe in it. And so I know they've been shipping out bottled water to that area. So that's all got to get cleaned up and fixed. It's yeah,
it is many, many months. Okay, so if not years, like I think this is a thing that it's going to take us a long, long time to recover from
yeah,
in terms of, infrastructure, in terms of the industry. I want to get to that too. That our
sure.
industry was already reeling from COVID and the strikes. Production never really came back.
Hmm.
And now there is this, like the people who work in this business, the people who have peripheral companies like
Yeah.
caterers and dry cleaners and where you get your coffee, like all of it is going to be impacted for so long. Anyway, among the
Also, a lot
many,
of
yeah,
also locations.
right.
The house of the Gene Smart character in Hacks, which was located in Altadena, not in Vegas, was destroyed, and like a lot of historic homes that have become backdrops for a lot of different film and TV things have been wiped out in all of this. And so, yeah, this is gonna, like you said, there's gonna be a lot of reverberations for this for years to come.
Right. Pally High.
Yeah.
Pally High, where a lot of things got shot. We have people like Will I Am went to Pally High, and there's all kinds of Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr, Golden State Warriors coach Steve Kerr had to evacuate his 90-year-old mom from the Palisades.
Mm.
And he was a basketball star at Pally High. So anyway, among the many, many, many celebrities who lost their homes, Billy Crystal, Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, Paris Hilton talked about watching her television or watching her house burn on television.
Mm.
Diane Warren lost her beach house. There's a documentary out right now about Diane Warren. She lost her beach house. Cary Elwes, Mandy Moore lost her home in Altadena, or it was severely damaged in Altadena. Many other celebrities had to evacuate. John Legend, Chrissy Teigen. Yes, someone in here was asking about, did you see James Woods on TV? Yes, James Woods and Mel Gibson
Yes.
both lost their homes. And I think their idea is like, oh, they're rich, they'll be fine. But maybe they would be compared to others who do not have those means. But still, it's like, it's your home. You raise your
Yeah.
children there. You have memories there. It's still devastating. It's still traumatic. And it's not all rich people. There are freaking trailers in Malibu.
Yeah.
The Tahitian Terrace trailer park is there. So,
And and the people who work for those people,
yes, I was thinking
the
about that
the
too.
gardeners, the
Gardeners,
housekeepers, like everybody
pool
who
cleaners.
everybody whose employment is attached to those homes that are no longer there.
I was thinking about that too. Like all those people, what happens to those jobs?
And the
So,
employees of the small businesses, of all the cafes and the restaurants and the dry cleaners, like you said, all those businesses in that area that are gone now.
right, right. The Palisades Village, a lot of that was damaged. So, it's a lot. So Jamie Lee Curtis, though, announced that she and her family were going to donate $1 million for fire relief
Mm.
from their foundation. So that is helpful. And I know a lot of folks had asked about like where could they donate. On our community tab, I put a screen grab of a list of several different things that are helpful, like places that are taking donations, whether it's like animal rescue stuff or Andres, his World Food
Yes.
Kitchen is feeding first responders. Like I think Airbnb, I believe, is doing a thing for people who are displaced.
Yeah.
Is it Uber or is it Lyft that's helping out with rides?
Oh, I don't know. You can also go to mutualaidla.org, which is a listing of mutual aid organizations in Los Angeles. If you are somebody who needs assistance, or if you want to donate to some organization that is providing assistance, there's a really good listing there as well.
Yeah, there are lots of places to donate, and they're all going to need your help for a long time.
Yeah.
So while I totally understand the instinct to like want to send money now, people are going to need help for many many months to come. This is this is the kind of disaster I've never seen in my entire life here. I lived in LA for most of my life,
Yeah.
and there are always fires. This time of year, there are always fires. I remember growing up in Woodland Hills, and there would be fires in the hills, behind our house, and like ash would fall in the pool, and you
Yeah.
got a little scared. Like second grade, the school I went to had to be evacuated to the church across the street because the hills were all on fire off of Mulholland. Like it's something that you grow up with, like you grow up with earthquakes.
Yeah, I was here for Northridge, and
Yeah.
that seemed to grind things to a halt. But this feels much worse.
It really is because it's more widespread.
Yeah.
Like you've got Palisades is like 20,000 acres that have been destroyed. Altadena, Pasadena area is another 10,000. And then there's a bunch of other little ones here and there. Anyway, it's really, really tragic. Yeah, Stephen's saying Jamie Lee Curtis compared the fires to what's going on in Gaza, which is completely insensitive and gross of her to compare to war torn country as horrible as the fires are. I guess in terms of like the level of destruction and just emotionally what people are going through.
Yeah, I mean, that was perhaps clumsily worded, but if you look, yeah, like you said before, you look at those overhead shots, and you can't believe this was ever a neighborhood. There's some comparison there, but obviously the reason of why that thing happened is very different.
Yes. Oh yeah, Katie points out that Milo Ventimiglia also lost his home,
Mm.
which I guess was there a plot on This Is Us about the house burning down? I've seen
Uh,
some.
there was a crock pot accident that happened. I didn't watch that show, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, do you know this? Yes.
I don't.
Our friend Matthew points out the Will Rogers Ranch was destroyed. Yes,
Yeah.
that is a significant location
Yeah.
here in LA as well. A lot of restaurants too that people love, like the Real Inn and Moon Shadows, like all these places along PCH that,
Hmm.
let's say you're visiting from out of town, let's say that you want to go get a drink at sunset, like places that are Rosenthal Winery, places that are beloved and have been here for a long time, been in families for a long time, and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So it's very, very sad. And then as far as our world goes with movies, it seems kind of frivolous to talk about movies and award season, but that is also part of our industry and part of our economy. And
Mhm.
so, for example, our LA Film Critics dinner was supposed to be tomorrow night, and we have postponed that
Yeah.
because of the fires. There is no date for rescheduling that. That's the kind of thing where like the winners know ahead of time that they've won and they come and it's nice and we give them awards. I was supposed to give Mikey Madison her award for Honora, and that's not going to happen. But everyone, of course, understands. Oscar nominations have been postponed.
Yeah, they gave a
Uh,
couple of they were given a couple of extra days to vote because of all of this, and so they pushed the nomination announcement back 2 days to next Sunday.
Yeah. So here's the thing too. So we were gonna do a live stream next Friday, January 17th. We like to do our annual Oscar live stream and like hash it out and talk about what we think, and we want to hear your thoughts on all that as well. So now they're not doing it until Sunday, January 19th. Now, last I looked, Alonzo, I didn't see that they had set a time of
Okay,
when that's coming out.
gotcha.
I'm assuming it's like that evening. I don't know what time. Um, but what we're thinking about, we're trying to figure out, and when we have more information, we'll put it up to a poll because we want to make it as useful for you guys as possible. Are you more likely to want to come to a Sunday evening live stream right after we learn the nominees, or would you rather come like Monday morning at 9 a.m.? But we're trying to sort through that. So stay tuned for details on that because I do want to make sure that we make it as accessible for all of you as possible. Micah says, is the Hollywood sign in danger? No.
No.
Right this very second, it is not. There is
No.
no fire there. There was that sunset fire that was possibly threatening that area of the Hollywood Hills, and folks left, but that all seems to be okay. It Can Be
Yeah.
says, it's so good to have you both safe. Thank you. It's so good to be safe.
Yeah.
I feel very, very lucky, but a lot of our friends are not so lucky. Yeah, I watched a girlfriend's apartment burn live on TV. She lives in
Oh.
Malibu, right as you're entering Malibu, right near Getty Villa. One of my longtime AP colleagues, Ryan Pearson, was out covering the fires. He's a longtime AP entertainment producer and photographer. He came home and his house in Altadena had burned down.
Wow.
So a lot of our friends are really feeling this. People that we know. Leo says firefighters are the real heroes of the world. Yeah, they are working really, really hard. So yes, award season continues. One thing that probably, again, with our industry, and this seems really frivolous, but a lot of the events that would have happened during this time of year, I'm sure, are going to be canceled, whether it's dinners or screenings or Q&As.
Premieres this week, I know.
Right. A bunch of things got canceled.
And Gene Smart sort of made the case that studios should be whatever they were going to be spending on award stuff for the time being, that they should be donating to, fire prevention efforts and to the people who were displaced by the fires. We'll see if anybody takes her up on that.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
Yeah.
I hope that's true, because so much money gets spent on like giant coffee table books that we will never actually open.
Exactly. Gift bags and whatnot.
We're looking at you, Netflix, sending out your giant big ass books that I don't think I've ever actually looked at. John Pawson says, yes, keep calm and carry on. Denial is the best way. Sorry for sounding insensitive. You have to acknowledge what has happened, but also you have to look out for the people who work in this business. It's a company town.
Yeah.
And so we have to make sure that those folks, people who, the drivers, the caterers, like production is going to come to a halt because of this. And we got to look out for them.
Yeah. This doesn't just affect super wealthy people. Like this is an industry town. And so there are a lot of people who do very unglamorous jobs, whose livelihood depends upon the glamorous people getting to be glamorous.
And award season in particular, right?
Yeah.
The Oscars shut down Hollywood Boulevard for a week. It's an extravaganza. People have to work on those things. Anyway, so a lot of folks here are saying Sunday, they would like to come Sunday evening for a live stream. Stephen says Monday. A lot of people are saying Sunday. So yeah, so let's shoot for Sunday when we know more about what time the nominations are. We'll put out some more information for you. Okay, other things that have happened. Screen Actors Guild nominations came out because the fires, they just put it out. This news conference could have been an email, and that's what they made it. So we have our SAG nominees.
Yes.
Wicked leads them all with 5. Wicked has the most. Complete Unknown comes in second with 4, and then your ensemble, your best ensemble nominees at Screen Actors Guild are A Complete Unknown, Anora, Conclave, Emilia Perez, and Wicked. The SAG Awards are a really good predictor of the Oscars.
Right, because there's such a large contingent of actors in the Academy membership. So not that it's a perfect match to match, but especially because the SAG does 5 and the Oscars do 10 now. But the outstanding ensemble category is looked upon as basically the SAG's version of Best Picture.
Right. So it is still early, but we will have to ponder what this means as far as predictions. And then the Directors Guild Award nominations came out too. Your 5 DGA nominees are Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, Sean Baker for Anora, Edward Berger for Conclave, Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, and James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. Those were all men. Nowhere in there is Coralie Fargia.
Yep.
It's not Coralie Fargie. Who told Kevin Frazier that when he was doing the Golden Globe stuff? We talked about this in our Golden Globe live stream.
Yeah, that was annoying.
Coralie Fargie. I'm like, wait a minute. Am I losing my mind? Like,
have I been saying it wrong all along?
Everything I've ever heard of Coralie Fargia is French, right? So, That
and
was,
no Guadagnino, and I'm wondering if he split his own vote
yeah.
with 2 movies this year.
Yeah, Ramon says Denzel getting snub was surprising. That's a very showy role from Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2, but I wonder if people just didn't take that movie seriously. Stephen Turner points out that Angelina Jolie did not get nominated
Mm,
for Best Actress, but Pamela Anderson did for
yes.
The Last Showgirl. And Jamie Lee Curtis got a supporting nomination for The Last Showgirl. I feel like, I'm not sure we're going to get a chance to review The Last Showgirl. I feel like the story behind that performance is more compelling than the performance
Performance itself.
itself. It's
Mm,
a nice story and it's very raw and she's got a sweetness to her. Um, but I think it's a good narrative. People are rooting for her.
yeah.
So Courtney says, I didn't know the DGA noms until now. And wow, those are not great picks, to be honest. Courtney, what would you take out of those? I am very surprised to see James Mangold in there. Although I like A Complete Unknown quite a bit. It's very standard in a lot of
Yeah.
ways.
I would take Jacques Audiard out, but
Yeah,
that's
that
just
too.
me.
Yeah, people love Amelia Perez. I think you and I are very much in the minority in not loving it because people are like, "Oh my god, it's groundbreaking and
Yeah.
dazzling and
What's the Will Ferrell line from Zoolander? Am I taking crazy pills?
Yeah, so let us know what you guys think about those nominations, and we will, of course, keep following those as all of the different nominations come out. Also, if you guys missed our best and worst movies of 2024 videos, we put those out earlier this
Yes.
week, and we very much enjoyed seeing your choices as well. Our good friend Jesse is chiming in with his best of picks. He likes The Taste of Things, We Will Dance Again, The Substance, The Room Next Door, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, Flow, Red Rooms, Long Legs, About Dry Grasses, Count of Monte Cristo, and Nora. I feel like About Dry Grasses was a last year movie.
Yeah, About Dry Grasses and I think Taste of Things both technically had awards runs in late 2023, but yeah, most of us didn't get to see them until 2024.
Nico Zavant makes a good point, which is that Angelina would 100% have won 20 years ago. Yeah. I mean, she didn't win the Golden Globe. This is the kind of thing where, like, this is the whole reason the Golden Globes exist is to give people like Angelina Jolie awards.
TV time, yeah.
Yeah. David says Christine Alonso Oscar nominations are at 5:30 a.m. on Sunday, January
Oh,
19th.
okay.
Really? 5:30 a.m. Well, it is 5:30 a.m. on normal days, right? It's like
Right.
5:38.
But that's usually because of, you're trying to get into that morning's news and, I don't know why on a Sunday you would do that, but I guess they just like tradition.
I is that true? Will you, Alonso? Will you look while I am talking, and
Sure.
let's see if we could get some verification on that? Because the last I looked, David, I did not see that there was a time.
Yeah.
Um,
McLebowski says that La Chimera has been snubbed this year. I think that also technically
a last year
was
movie.
last year. Yeah.
Yeah. Andrea says, "Is it me or are all the movies nominated this year total downers?" I mean,
Mm,
not not Nora. I mean, Nora is thrilling. It has sort of a melancholy ending, but I don't know. I don't think A Complete Unknown's a downer. Anyway,
I mean, Wicked, I guess, sort of ends on a bit of a down note. I don't know.
yeah, but it's exciting. Yeah, so Jason H says we need a nomination for Nicole Kidman. Yeah, Best Actress is going to be tough. I can imagine that right, she did not get nominated for a SAG award, did she?
Oh, I don't know. Hang on. I'm looking at the other thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
I got you doing research for me.
yeah, I'm so far.
I don't think that there is a time.
I haven't seen a time yet. I don't
Yeah,
know.
David, where are you seeing 5:30 a.m.? Maybe you're just kidding. I can't imagine they would do that because, like, people go to church. Sunday morning is like a sacred time, whether or not you go to church. Like, it's just too early. On the game says Conclave's not a downer. That's true. It's like a juicy, fun
True. Yeah.
thriller.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Todd, did we mention that Christopher Guest and Jamie Lee Curtis lost their house? I don't think I knew they lost their house. I think they just are donating $1 million, right?
I, I don't know. maybe both.
Matthew says, Christy, could you read my comment above? I am curious if you agree. Okay, now I got to find your comment above. Okay, I think people who do not understand the complexities of queer life and think that Amelia Perez is groundbreaking is why it's receiving the accolades. They think they are being good in supporting it.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm thrilled that Carla Sofia Gascon is getting attention and that she, shared the Best Actress prize at Cannes and everything. But having a trans lead in your trans movie does not make it a good trans movie per se, especially when you have a look, Sean Baker made a great one. He's a cis guy, and but I think he worked a lot with his cast, and I think Odiard just sort of has his ideas about what trans people are and where they come from and how they live and what they're about, and I don't think he really stopped and asked anybody else about it. At least that's how the results appear anyway.
I wonder what kind of input Carla Sofia Gascon was able to give, though, as a trans woman in the lead of this.
Well, again, it's like, was she asked?
Yeah.
What was he open to input from her or anyone else?
It's the titular role.
Yeah.
So again, David says SAG nom for female actors: Pamela Anderson, Cynthia Erivo, Carla Sofia Gascon, Mikey Madison, Demi Moore. Right. So no Nicole Kidman, no Marianne Jean-Baptiste. We just talked about Hard Truths a little bit ago. That video will be out soon.
Yeah. The announcement from the Academy just said, as such, our Oscar nominations announcement will move from Friday, January 17th to Sunday, January 19th. More information on the announcement will follow soon. And I don't think there's been anything since then.
Yeah. So we'll sit tight on that. For sure.
Once we know for sure, we'll have a poll up.
We will. Nat Stevens says, I'm trans and I enjoyed this movie. It's wild and zany.
All right.
Okay. Thanks for that. And then Christian Corbett asks, why do you think Robert Eggers keeps getting overlooked for direction?
Oh, well, probably because they don't take horror seriously as a genre, generally speaking, in awards things. Like every so often, something will, like Get Out will kind of break through, but that's generally the exception and not the rule.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe there's like a muchness to the gore that people can't stand. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, we will follow all this stuff. A couple more things I want to mention real fast before we head out. Alec Baldwin has sued officials in Santa Fe over his Rust shooting prosecution. It turned out afterward that there was some mangling of evidence and bullets, and so the case got tossed out. And so now he is suing the people who prosecuted him for manslaughter in that fatal shooting on the film set. Left Helena Hutchins dead, cinematographer dead. So that's one thing. And we could not let this week go by without acknowledging that Anita Bryant died. Alonzo, let's talk about Anita Bryant.
Oh, let's. So Anita Bryant was a, run-of-the-mill singer who had some success and I think had been a Miss America, right? That's pretty? I can runner-up for Miss America, Davis reminded me. And then became the pitch person for Florida Orange Juice. And then when her career was on the wane, decided to hitch her wagon to organized homophobia and started setting up these big campaigns in yes, we own it. The Anita Bryant story in paperback. She aligned herself with these campaigns in Dade County that were overturning equal rights measures for LGBTQ plus people. Started getting into this whole thing about, where she was attacking teachers, that they shouldn't be allowed. Queer teachers shouldn't be allowed in our schools because they were, of course, here to recruit young people. Blah blah blah. All the bullshit you hear people saying about trans people now, she was saying about gays and lesbians back in the 70s. And it pretty much ended her career. And she, from what I understand, lived off her final years on a foundation that was supposed to be some sort of international ministry that was named for her, but she was pocketing the money and living off it. I can't back that up for sure. But basically, she was an awful person, and I'm glad she's dead.
She was 84. How'd she
Yeah.
die?
I
Just
don't know.
being an
She
old
died.
person?
She died in December. They didn't announce it until yesterday. I think her family was trying to deprive gay people of an extra Christmas bonus. But yeah, she was awful and actively demonized an entire group of Americans, and should be remembered for being divisive and terrible. And I have no regrets.
Great. Should never regret. Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple things we want to mention here. Yes. It can be says Anita Bryant was a horrible person, and somebody else says she was a terrible orange juice salesperson. Wayne Edwards, thank you so much for your kind donation. Wayne's
Thank
got a
you.
question. Hello, I have a friend who is a new film lover. We get together to do a double feature twice a year. I want her to see Vertigo. She wants The Substance. Is there a common theme between these two? Yes. I think there is.
Yeah, I mean, it's about women recreating themselves in an image that somebody else wants.
Female identity and like the nature of like duplicates
Hmm.
and mirror images and doppelgangers and
And
totally.
accommodation. Yeah.
Totally. I think so too. So that's a good question. Let us know how that goes. And
Hmm.
then Stephen Turner, thank you so much for your kind
Thank
donation.
you.
Steven says, if Demi wins the Oscar, we would have Michelle Yeoh, Emma Stone, and Demi winning for out there genre films and performances. Is this the new Oscar bait biopic?
You know what? If it made more actresses make crazy ass gonzo movies, then I would not be mad at that.
Yeah, that is great. We have Brian pointing out that Anita Bryant was Miss Oklahoma 1958.
Ah, okay then.
And she had pie thrown in her face, says
She
Matthew.
she did in one of the great moments of what nonviolent protest.
Yes. Anyway, so it's a busy time. So again, thank you guys so much for being here.
Yes.
I know it's a crazy time, but we really wanted to see you and just touch base and just hear how you're doing and appreciate so many folks who live in Southern California who have messaged us to say, that they had to evacuate or that the air is really bad. So
Yeah.
so please keep in touch with us as things go on. They have put a dent in the Palisades fire. It is down to like what 8% containment now, which
Oh,
is
good.
better
Okay.
than zero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Danny McKenna's got a quick question.
Yes.
Alonzo and Christy, did you ever get to see the lovely film Ghost Light? If not, my gift to you is a recommendation of it with no expectation of you reviewing. Just watch, savor, and enjoy. I have not seen that, but
I
it looks
have not,
great.
but I do keep it is on a list of things I keep meaning to get to. So
Yeah, and then Invisible Adversary says, "Have you seen Daume?"
I did just watch it actually on Mubi. Yeah, it's really well done. It's a documentary from Maddie Diop about the nation of Benin receiving art treasures that were looted from it centuries ago by the French, and sort of the larger discussion surrounding it in terms of culture and identity and a lot of other things. It's a wonderful film.
I'm going to leave you with one last thing, and that is from John M., who says, Oscar prediction, Best Picture, Hundreds of Beavers. Best Actor, Beaver. Best Supporting Beaver, Beaver, and Director Mike Cheswick. So you would love that, I'm sure.
I'm down. Yeah, from your mouth to the beaver's ears.
Uh-huh. Thanks so much to all of you. Please stay safe. We will keep
Yes.
in touch with you. We have a couple of reviews for you later on today, Hard Truths and Better Man. And then just trying to keep things normal as we go along here. But we'll stay in touch and you guys please do the same. And then when we know more about Oscar nomination day, we will put those details out there and we will hopefully see you then and you can share your thoughts then.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Be well.
Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. I got to end this. Bye.